Hello again, everybody. Kelly Boyer here from Transformative Healing, and you can find me at any time at kellyboyer.org. So I am back again today because I get asked this question very, very often, and I'm getting asked the question again. And the question is, how do I bring back or turn on my intuitive gifts? Well, I want to start off by letting everybody know everybody, truthfully, everybody on this planet is intuitive. Whether we recognize it or not, we have intuitive abilities. And oftentimes we do end up using those abilities and don't even realize that we're using them, but we do have them. So, for those of you who want to regain your intuitive gifts, because a lot of times what happens when I start to investigate about the time when they were lost, a lot of times we end up losing them in childhood. A little bit scary, right? That to know that as a child we had them and then all of a sudden they were gone. Well, there's a lot of things that can happen when we lose our gifts. So let's talk about some of those things. And then I'm going to talk about, the way that we always discuss about how we can get things back, which is through healing. But I also want to give you another idea because healing can be so hard and so difficult, and why do we have to continue to torture ourselves, right, to become that whole being, that whole intuitive being that we are? Well, it's true, healing is hard, healing is beautiful, and we can regain our intuitive gifts through healing. And so I'm not saying don't do your healing, because you're going to need that in conjunction with this other idea that I want to share with you. But this idea is fun, right? Because in order for us to really connect with everything that we are, we need fun, we need simple, we need easy. We just need to be able to enjoy some of these fun interventions or modalities to just help us step back into that person that we are. So, again, it doesn't always have to be hard. It can be fun, and that's okay. All right, so let's talk about things that can cause us to lose our intuitive gifts. Well, one of the reasons that we talk about healing is because trauma can cause us to shut off our intuitive gifts. If something happens to us, and truthfully, it can be at any age, but usually it happens during some time in our childhood. If we have a traumatic experience, that then makes us feel unsafe, the conscious mind will immediately turn off those intuitive gifts. And the conscious mind is just doing what it's supposed to be doing, what it's designed to be doing, and that's to protect us. So it will shut them off, and then it will continue to protect us until we start doing something different to really help train the conscious mind to step aside so that we can then reconnect with our intuitive gifts. So, another thing that's really important for you to know is that as children, as we are being birthed into earth, into this planet, into this life, our intuitive systems are completely wide open. As infants and babies, we are highly, highly sensitive and highly, highly intuitive. So, a lot of studies have revealed that babies really do come into this world with a certain set of expectations, which is really that intuitive ability of how the world is around them. Example that's a really good example is they develop empathy really early on during their infant years. And we all know that having that gift of empathy is us being able to really tap into our clair empathy or our clairsentience. So right away, babies are coming in with that clair gift. And then, of course, there's other things that they know as they come in, which knowing is that gift of claircognizance, but they know that unsupported objects will fall if if they're not being held, if they're not sitting on a shelf right. So they understand and intuitively understand that gravity takes place here on Earth. So other things that they know is that hidden objects don't cease to exist when out of sight. And even as adults, we know that, right? That we know that if there's a pen and we hide it behind a book, the pen doesn't really disappear. It's still there. We just can't see it. And then, of course, by about 5 months, they can even anticipate that non cohesive substances like sand and water aren't solid. So, how would they know that unless they were taught that, right? So, they do come in with a set of intuitive expectations. And again, their intuitive abilities are wide open. So then what happens? So around the ages of 5, 6, or 7, when we put children into a structured system, such as school, it does begin to change them because they're being forced to learn rules and regulations, which we all need to survive in this world. It's not something bad, but they begin to learn about rules and regulations that then take them from their inner world and begins to move them to the outer world. So societal constructs began to really set in and really take over. And so with that, they began to live a more external life versus during those real younger years when they're really internalizing and really working with that internal system. So another thing that can cause us to lose our intuitive gifts are also when we reach the ages of like 8, 9, and 10. So children do what is known in psychology as hero worship. And this is when children take that superhero that is inside of them, that's within them, and then they then begin to move it externally to the outside world. So for example, they began to worship superheroes like Superman. I loved Wonder Woman or Captain America or Iron Man or Black Widow. The list goes on and on and on. And yes, and the reason that I know these is because my son growing up very much was a superhero fan. So it's interesting because when they began to worship these superheroes, they began to forget that they all have the superhero powers inside of them. And they begin to lose that intuitive sense because let's face it, we like to call our intuitive abilities our superpowers, right? They begin to lose all of that. And often, too, this behavior is encouraged by adults. I was one that did it also. When my son loved superheroes, I would, after Halloween, when all the costumes were then like 75% off, we would go and buy all the costumes and bring them home for him to wear and to pretend to be Spider-Man and Superman and Iron Man. And oh my gosh, I swear to you, that was all that that kid lived in when he was little. But that's how we oftentimes lose that intuitive ability. All of our clear gifts then begin to slowly shut off. And then we move through life as adults. And then, of course, that's when the other types of patterning begin to really begin to kick in because we're really starting to conform to those societal norms and beliefs and programs, right? So, with that being said, of course, we definitely need to do a lot of healing, right? We gotta heal ourselves. There's no other way about it. But what if we were to regress, or if you don't resonate with the word regress, if we were to go back in time on our same timeline to that age when we were still superheroes inside, where we had our intuition and all of those beautiful gifts. So, what if we were to just see, sense, and feel us going way back in time, allowing our energy to go back in time to maybe right before we began to lose those gifts? And then I'm going to encourage you to go back even further, right? Because if we kind of have an idea of when they started to go away, maybe we don't want to start right there because we want to keep our gifts. So let's go back even further to when we were just so wide open and so intuitive. So when we do that, and maybe what it is that you get grounded, that you expand out, and then you begin to visualize bringing yourself back, trusting everything that comes in, because that's a huge part of this. And it brings you back to that time where you were just so intuitive, right? That you truly were your own superhero. So when you get there, what I want you to do is I want you to embody all of that energy and those frequencies and those vibrations. I want you to take them and wholeheartedly embody them into your body, into your mind, body, and soul. I want you to feel them. I want you to breathe them. I want you to feel those vibrations pulsate through your entire body, through each and every cell, every fiber of your being. And just so that you know, it is okay if you want to visualize the details of it. If you can't, it's not a big deal, because it's not the details that matter. It's those embodied vibrations that you feel, that energy that you feel. And then once you fully have yourself immersed in that beautiful, incredible energy, then what I want you to do is I want you to bring yourself back into the present time, bringing those frequencies with you. And I want you to see, sense, and feel yourself in that moment of who you are, that you are this very intuitive being. And after you sit in that and you really love it and enjoy it, sorry, I have to kind of stop you here. Like, look at, I kind of feel like as I'm talking about this, we're already bringing in those frequencies just by the way my video is starting to change with all these different colors. Interesting how it all started as I started to walk you through this. But okay, besides the point, once you bring that into the present, and you embody all of that in the way that it feels in the here and now, I then want you to let go of any expectations that you have of how they're supposed to appear, how you're supposed to use them. Any and all expectations need to go. And then I really want you to really harness those energies and trust that from this day forward, your intuitive abilities will begin to open up and you'll begin to notice them and use them more and more and more. So truthfully, what I'm asking you to do is I'm asking you to go back and be a child, bring those frequencies in from when you're a child and really hold them in your heart space, because part of being a child that correlates with our intuition is the ability to just trust. Children are so trusting. That's another reason why their intuitive abilities are so off the chart, because they just trust in the information that they get and they trust in the way that they use it. So, all right, that's it for now. I hope everybody goes back and gives it a shot. Try it once, try it twice, do it every day. It doesn't matter, but I'm just going to encourage you to just try this fun way of really tapping into your intuitive gifts. And as you do, and when you begin to start to notice stuff happening, really exciting stuff happening, I want you to go down below and leave me a comment and let me know what amazing things are happening for you. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Good luck on your intuitive child learning expedition. And I will see all of you until next time. I love all of you. Bye for now.